There is a 1 in 300 million chance for a person to win a lottery. You might think winning the lottery is as rare as it can get, right? But that's not true. There are people out there who not only won, but did so in ways that are rarer, stranger, almost once-in-a-lifetime occurrences. Here are the 7 wild stories where lottery wins were so unbelievable, you would think they would never happen again. At number 7, the proactive store owner. This is the story of a person you might know already. He is Gilbert Arenas. Yes, we are talking about the 3-time NBA All-Star who was also voted the most improved player in the 2002-03 season. Arenas had already made a name for himself in the basketball world. His net worth is over $50 million. You would think the lottery would be the last thing on his mind. But guess what? He loved playing the lottery just as much as he loved basketball. And it turns out Arenas was a creature of habit when it came to his lottery routine. He always played the same numbers, and that too at his favorite gas station. But the day that changed everything was a bit off script. That one day, he was running late to get to his favorite store to buy a lottery ticket. He had only 8 minutes to make it before the gas station closed. But then, out of nowhere, his car ran out of gas. So, Arenas had to stop at a different gas station to refuel. At that time, he had just $10 in his car. He was ready to get just enough gas to make it. But then something unexpected happened. A homeless man approached him, and he asked for some change. Arenas offered the man $5 and explained how he needed the rest of it to get back home. Arenas knew he would have to skip buying the lottery today. However, the homeless man refused the money. He suggested Arenas use the rest of his money to play the lottery and come back with $20 if he won. Imagine that. Arenas was really touched by the gesture, and so he continued to his usual spot. Unfortunately, he found the store had already closed. Disappointed, Arenas went back home, not thinking much of it. The next morning, he received a text about winning $300,000. Like most of us, he thought it was a scam. But curiosity got the better of him, and he went to his favorite gas station. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. The store owner came running toward Arenas. He told him that he had to close the shop earlier the previous day, and he knew Arenas' usual numbers. So seeing he hadn't shown up, he bought a ticket for him. And just like that, Arenas won $300,000. Next comes the heartwarming part. True to his word, Arenas didn't forget about the homeless man. He went back to find him. While the exact amount he gave the man is still a mystery, one thing is for sure, it was a generous thank you for a moment of selfless kindness. If this story of one lottery winner amazed you, imagine hearing one about multiple winners. Number 6. 110 winners. In 2003, an extraordinary event occurred in the Powerball lottery world. You see, typically, in a normal draw, we would expect to see 1 to 4 winners of the second-tier prize. This is just a step below the jackpot. But this time, in 2003, something different happened. Something that left everyone bewildered. This time, not 1, not 2, but a staggering 110 people claimed the prize. But how did it even become possible? Well, unlike the jackpot, where winners share the pot, the second-tier prize is fixed. That means each winner gets the full amount, regardless of how many people win. So, you can imagine the organizers' surprise and panic when they realized they had to pay out each of these 110 winners without dividing the prize. Among these lucky 110, 89 won the usual $100,000 second-tier prize. But hold on, more shock was coming for the organizers. The remaining 21 winners who had opted for the Power Play edition didn't just win $100,000. They hit a monumental $500,000 each. Add it all up, and the Powerball was looking at dishing out an eye-watering total of $19 million. But this unbelievable event raised some eyebrows. How did so many people manage to pick the winning numbers? The organizers suspected foul play at first, but they found no evidence of fraud. They then considered the possibility that these numbers were leaked. So they scoured TV shows, magazines, even replayed episodes of Lost and The Young and the Restless, suspecting that the numbers might have been mentioned there, but nothing matched. Everyone was skeptical of the win, but then the secret was uncovered, and it was as surprising as the win itself. These 110 winners got their lucky numbers from a fortune cookie. Yes, you heard that right. A simple, unassuming fortune cookie held the key to their fortune. And get this, the only number they got wrong was the 6th one. The fortune cookie listed 40 instead of the jackpot winning 42. That was a close shave. Now, the chances of this happening again are slim to none. The fortune cookie company switched to using computers for number selection, reducing the likelihood of repeated numbers. Those fortune cookies turned out to be more than just a sweet treat. They were tickets to a fortune. These might be the collective 110 luckiest people alive, but what about the luckiest person on the planet? At number 5, the luckiest person on the planet. Frano Salak is a Croatian man, and he might just be the luckiest person on Earth, or perhaps the unluckiest depending on how you look at his incredible story. His life has been a series of extraordinary escapes from death, each more shocking than the last. Let's hear the unbelievable story of Frano, filled with twists, turns, and heart-stopping moments. It all began with a train ride. One ordinary day, Frano was traveling by train when suddenly the train derailed. It sent several cars plummeting into a river. By some miracle, Frano survived, so he swam to shore to call for help. But fate wasn't done with him yet. Just a year later, Frano was aboard a plane. Mid-flight, an emergency exit door tore off. Frano, along with other passengers, was sucked out of the plane. Incredibly, he was the sole survivor because he fell on a haystack and he was relatively unharmed. You might think that was enough excitement for one lifetime, but Frano's adventures were far from over. In 1966, during a bus trip, the vehicle veered off the road and plunged into a river. Again, Frano stayed alive, but wait, there's more. In 1970, while driving, Frano faced yet another incident. His car's gas tank ignited. He managed to escape just in time to watch his car explode. Frano began to sense a pattern. He sensed that danger seemed to follow him. He lived in a state of uneasy calm for the next 3 years, waiting for another disaster. And sure enough, in 1973, while refueling his car, gasoline spilled and it ignited a fire. Once again, Frano walked away with hardly a scratch, but his string of misfortunes wasn't over. In 1995, while walking, he was struck by a bus. And yes, you guessed it right, he survived with minor injuries. Then, on a mountain road drive, Frano faced a head-on collision with a speeding truck. In a split-second decision, he leaped from his car, which then exploded. He was left with only minor injuries. Many have questioned the authenticity of Frano's stories, especially the plane and train incidents, as there is no official record of these. Some speculate that Frano might have embellished his story and added fantastical elements to an already unbelievable life story. But one part of Frano's life is undeniably true and perhaps the most astonishing of all. After surviving all these near-death experiences, he won almost $500,000 in the lottery. With this windfall, he purchased a luxury house, but what surprised us the most was that he sold it later. He realized that material wealth was nothing in front of life and love. Frano married 5 times and, after his lottery win, chose to live a modest life with his 5th wife. He spent the remaining money on a hip operation and charitable causes. Frano's life raises the question, is he the luckiest man to have cheated death so many times, or the unluckiest to have faced it so frequently? Well, one thing is for certain. If Frano were an Uber driver, his car would be the ride of a lifetime. This next couple might not have survived near-death experiences 7 times like Frano, but they were surely as lucky as him when it came to winning the lottery in an unbelievable way. Number 4. The School Project. This is the story that starts with a simple act of kindness and ends with an unbelievable stroke of luck. Meet Canadian couple Nicole Bedno and Roger LaRoche, who experienced firsthand how a good deed can lead to extraordinary rewards. One ordinary day, their grandson came to them with a request. He needed help with a school project about Japan. The couple was eager to help their grandson, so they began rummaging through their belongings because they wanted to search for anything that might be useful. It was during this search that Nicole found an old book about Japan, a book she had almost forgotten. As she flipped through the pages, something unexpected fell out, a lottery ticket. It took her a moment, but then she remembered. Months ago, she had placed the ticket in the book for safekeeping and then completely forgotten about it. At that time, the couple was intrigued because they had never checked the ticket, so they decided to do it. Their astonishment knew no bounds when they discovered that this Lotto Quebec ticket, which was hidden away and forgotten, was a winner. And not just any winner. It was worth a staggering 1 million Canadian dollars, which is around 750,000 US dollars. But there was one slight problem. Nicole had hidden the ticket in the book months ago, and they knew every lottery ticket had an expiry date, and they weren't sure if it had passed already. Frantically, they checked the lottery's website for information. What they found was the ticket that was valid for 1 year from the draw date. They checked the date on the ticket. You won't believe it. The draw happened almost exactly a year ago. They had just 2 days to claim their $1 million prize. Just think about it. If they hadn't agreed to help their grandson with his school project, they would have never rediscovered the ticket and missed out on becoming millionaires. You could say in a way that a stroke of luck granted them $1 million, but this next person tried to create their own luck and succeeded in doing so. Sitting at number 3, 30 wins. Deborah Brown is from Richmond, Virginia, and her story is one for the books. Deborah achieved the unthinkable, winning the lottery not once, not twice, but a staggering 30 times in a single day. Now, before you start looking for some logical explanation, let me stop you right there. This story is all about the whims of fate, not reason. But Deborah tried to make it happen by making a pattern. Here is how it happened. During a routine day of running errands, Deborah decided to buy a batch of 20 Pick 4 lottery tickets. But she didn't pick them randomly. She chose the exact numbers for all 20 tickets: 1, 0, 3, 1. You might be wondering, why these numbers? Well, they must have held some special significance for her, as they seemed to be her lucky charm. As the day went on, something peculiar happened. Deborah couldn't shake the feeling that these numbers were following her, appearing everywhere she went. She was intrigued and maybe a bit bewitched by this numerical incident, so she made another stop at the store on her way home. This time she bought 10 more tickets, all with the same set of numbers. Now, here is where the story becomes more interesting. When the Pick 4 results came in, Deborah's chosen numbers were the winning ones. That's right, all 30 of her tickets were winners. Each ticket won the jackpot of $5,000, bringing her total winnings to an incredible $150,000. Sure, it might not be the largest jackpot ever won, but winning 30 times in a single day? That's incredibly shocking. While Deborah was lottery lucky, this next person was lucky in his life and lottery games. Cruising by at number 2, the lucky truck driver. Do you know what the odds are of getting bitten by a shark? It is 3,750,000 to 1. You have probably heard that before. Now, consider the odds of winning the lottery once in your lifetime. It's 300,000 to 1. But winning it twice? That's almost an impossibility. Yet this is exactly what happened to Bill Morgan, an Australian truck driver, in a story so incredible it sounds like fiction. The year was 1998, and Bill was living on the outskirts of Melbourne in a small trailer park. Life for him was straightforward. He used to drive trucks. However, one fateful day while driving, Bill's world turned upside down. Out of the blue, Bill felt unwell, stopped his truck, and that's when he lost consciousness. A passerby noticed and called for an ambulance. The doctors revealed that Bill had suffered a heart attack. The situation worsened when Bill experienced an allergic reaction to the medication, which caused his heart to stop. Doctors had lost their hope, but after 14 minutes with no heartbeat, miraculously, Bill's heart started beating again. But unfortunately, he was in a deep coma. Doctors feared he might never recover, or worse, remain in a vegetative state. They gave a choice to Billy's family. They could either make the heartbreaking decision to disconnect life support or keep waiting for him to wake up. With no guarantees but a slight hope, they transferred Bill to another hospital to a specialist who promised better treatment. And thank God they did, because after 15 more days in a coma, Bill woke up, defying all odds. Bill's recovery was nothing short of a miracle. He returned to his life in the trailer park, proposed to his girlfriend Linda, and resumed his work as a truck driver. Then, 12 months after his miraculous recovery, he got lucky once again. On a routine trip, Bill stopped at a store and bought a lottery ticket. To his astonishment, he won a Toyota Corolla, a prize worth about 30,000 Australian dollars, which is around 20,000 US dollars. For Bill, this was a massive stroke of luck. But the story doesn't end there. A local TV channel was intrigued by Bill's remarkable recovery from a coma, so they decided to do a feature on him. During the filming, they asked Bill to buy another lottery ticket as part of the story. In front of the cameras, Bill scratched the ticket, and guess what he found? That he had won again, this time a whopping $250,000. The crew initially thought it was a joke, but it was true. Bill had won once again. The video of Bill's win went viral on the internet, capturing his incredulous reaction. With his winnings, Bill moved out of the trailer park. He bought a house and is enjoying a more comfortable life with his wife. While Bill won his lottery for himself, this next person got an incredible gift from an old friend. Peaking at number 1, the highest tip ever. Have you ever seen the movie It Could Happen to You? Whether you have or haven't, brace yourself for a story that is just as amazing. And yes, it is based on true events. Let us take you back to 1984 in a pizzeria in Yonkers, New York. Our main characters are Phyllis Penzo, a waitress who had been working at South Pizzeria for 25 years, and Robert Cunningham, who was a New York police detective. This pizzeria was the place where Robert would go often to eat, and it was the place where he and Phyllis became friends. In fact, 15 years passed and they were still friends. One day, Robert was short on cash for a tip, so jokingly he offered Phyllis a lottery ticket as a tip instead. This wasn't out of the ordinary for their playful friendship. Phyllis accepted the unusual tip with a laugh. They picked the lottery numbers together, making a casual pact to split any winnings. They both didn't expect much from this ticket. However, the lottery draw turned their world upside down. Robert checked the ticket and was stunned. It was a jackpot winner. The man wasted no time in calling Phyllis to share the news. But it was April Fool's. Understandably, Phyllis thought it was a joke. Why wouldn't she? They always used to joke with each other. So, Robert had to work hard to convince her it was real. Upon realizing the truth, Phyllis couldn't contain her excitement. She celebrated so loud that she even woke up her husband. Everyone was in disbelief because the win was quite huge. The jackpot stood at $6 million. And yes, Robert honored their pact. He split the winnings equally. Phyllis received an incredible $3 million. So from an ordinary evening at work to becoming a millionaire, Phyllis's life changed forever. All because a friendly gesture turned out to be lucky. These were quite unbelievable stories, right? All the winners were super lucky. But it doesn't happen to everyone. In fact, sometimes you can be lucky and unlucky at the same time. Sometimes you can win the lottery, but the organizers won't pay you. Yes, it's true, and it has happened before. Watch these shocking times when the lottery decided not to pay and see what made them take this step. You will be shocked to hear the reasons.